Great. We are very lucky that we have a full-time executive producer,
And
writer,
we're live.
and we're live. No, I guess
We're
we don't
live.
have writers. We don't have writers because we're live, so it's unscripted and raw.
Well, I think that's the best way to do these kinds of videos, and I think we'll give it a minute or so to see if anybody logs on while we're live right now.
Sure.
But it was nice that we received a list of questions that, we have 8 of them to go over right now, unless there's some that gets added on through the broadcast. But really excited to talk about. These are probably the most common questions that we're getting today.
They are. I think there's definitely a theme, and we've curated these based on what we do here pretty much every day out in the streets.
Okay, so here we go. SNL, Q&A, May Day, May 1st. We're going to try and make this a weekly thing because it's going to be fun for Scott and I to go live and answer some of the most questions that we're getting asked today. So
absolutely. Kind of an offshoot of our SNL weekly update. So we're just expanding.
I do want to preface one thing, just like everybody else, we are working from home. Scott and I both have dogs. So if the mailman comes and you hear barking, that's
my dog.
If we can, but we want to get through all these questions as well.
Lane, we've done this enough now over the last month. It's about mail delivery time at my house. So,
so I'm waiting for it. And I think I saw a duck in the background too. So maybe Huey might be going after the duck. All right. Well, hey, you know what? Let's get to it. We're live on Facebook and YouTube right now. Really excited to do it. It's a Q&A, Scott and Lane SNL show. Let's throw the first question that we got over the last couple of days and start from there, shall we? Do you see it up on the screen?
Absolutely. Should I sell now or should I wait? Well, you know what? I'd have to throw that back out as a question to our viewers, Lane, and that really depends on what your goals are, what your goals, your wishes, your dreams, short term and in the near long term. We'll have a discussion about that and then make a decision.
That's absolutely right. I mean, we have actually a couple clients that we're helping out right now that currently have 2 mortgages, and it just doesn't financially make sense for them to carry 2 mortgages. Now, we have a marketing plan in place. We do things now differently than we did before, but that's still okay because all of the tools that we have are to put you in the position as a seller to get the highest price in the least amount of time given this point in time. And so that's our only goal there. And we still do have buyers out there that are looking and writing offers. Actually, 3 out of our 4 recent listings have multiple offers now, believe it or not. So, but you have maybe a personal experience about, if you should sell or wait.
I do. And again, after 33 years in this business, whether it's related to external forces, whether it's CV19, 2008, 9/11, I always ask the question to my clients that are thinking about selling is, what motivates you? Are you motivated to get on to the next chapter of life, to turn that page, if you will, and are excited for what's next? Or, as Lane mentioned, is there an absolute financial must sell? He said, we have a personal interest right now. Philip and I have decided to sell our house in Laguna Beach. We have a triplex. We've been here for 11 years. We've got an exceedingly exciting opportunity to move just over the hill, over the Aliso Viejo border, into a live-work type of situation where we'll be able to actually open a brick and mortar South County office for our brokerage, if all goes well, and kind of simplify our life just a little bit. And we're excited for that. So we're making a decision to move now because we want to move on to what's next. And we understand the house is worth what a buyer is willing to pay, and we'll be buying and selling in the same marketplace, if you will.
Absolutely. So I think that speaks volumes. You yourself have your house on the market right now. You're confident in the marketplace to be able to get a qualified and quality buyer, even given these current times.
Well, I actually am. And again, not to toot our own horn, but we've been in the trenches for the last 6 weeks. And the clients of ours that have decided to move on for similar reasons, they're retiring. They have a retirement home already purchased. They've received a great job offer and are moving to another state. They're downsizing. They've made decisions to move forward, yes, with different parameters for showings and communications. And without exception, every one of them has received offers that have been acceptable, and they're under contract right now.
Absolutely. You made a comment too about being in the trenches in the last 6 weeks. You've been in the trenches for 32 years. So those last 6 weeks is just a little microcosm of your whole career. And that's probably why I'm going to have you do most of the talking today, to be honest with you.
No.
32 years worth of answering these 8 questions that we have. Yeah. You're the most qualified to do so than anybody that I know.
Well, the trenches have been a little bit deep lately, so I will tell you, sometimes the boots feel like they're pulled up to my ears.
Okay. That's great. Well, okay, so we move on to another question?
Let's move on.
Okay. Oh, so it's kind of similar to the last one. Should I buy now or wait?
And that's a question we're getting from a lot of our clients that are first-time buyers, because often get referred to sons and daughters and grandchildren of our past clients that are ready to jump into home ownership. And Lane, I'm gonna let you field that question a little bit, because I know you, speaking of being in the trenches, you've been out there recently with a couple of people that are fitting this criteria. And tell me, how are you answering that question?
And I would say more recently in the last 7 to 10 days than maybe when things first started with the stay-at-home orders put in place. But we follow this app. It's called Showing Time app, and they monitor showings that are scheduled in California, actually all over the country, but we look at the California ones, and it looks right now like a Nike swoosh. So things are on the up and up again, and there's so many more showings being had today. And I think that one of the biggest reasons is that there's really low interest rates still. And a lot of the buyers that we're helping out these days are actually first-time home buyers that maybe missed out on some opportunities when things were really competitive, when we were seeing 5 or 6 offers. Yes, we're still seeing a couple offers on listings that we have, but you know what? When you're competing against 5 or 6 offers, you're competing against all cash offers. You're competing against offers that are putting more than 20% down. Some of the clients that we have right now, whether they're VA putting 0% down or a conventional 5% down, they were missing out on these opportunities. So now they're actually getting a legitimate crack at buying their dream home. So it's really nice to see that a lot of our buyers and our clients that were missing out on some great opportunities maybe a month and a half ago actually have a better chance at getting the house that they want in the neighborhood that they want and getting an offer accepted in a competitive marketplace.
Exactly. And I've got 2 things to add to that before we move on. Number one, the affordability for a buyer is a combination of the price and the interest rate they pay. Because again, you're focusing on what is my monthly nut going to be, taking into account whatever tax advantages I have, which your CPA can help you with that. So is the opportunity there for you now to get into home ownership and have that affordable monthly nut that gets you on with the American dream? And then number 2, a good escrow is a closed escrow from our seller's standpoint, of course. And they've had the luxury in the last few years of disseminating between many, many offers. And it's very easy to say, well, the one with 50% or more down or this or that is going to eclipse the VA, the FHA, the 5% down buyer. But we've got to remember something. The loan programs that are set in place for all of these buyers are just as strong as the other ones. And if we do our due diligence in qualifying our buyers or do our due diligence in pre-qualifying buyers that come in on our listings, we know that the sellers are going to be in great shape and still be able to close their transaction and get all their money out of their property. And even from a seller standpoint, help a first-time buyer with that American dream and get in with the VA offer or the FHA offer. So I think it's just an exciting time in a lot of ways. And as long as everyone does their due diligence, everyone can win.
Absolutely. And if there's a concern if prices may go down, I mean, there's a couple things that are in favor for a buyer buying today, and it's still the really low inventory. So we follow the month supply of inventory, and a neutral market is somewhere between 4 to 6 months of supply and inventory, and we're in the 2s right now. So it's the low inventory is still what's going to help maybe push prices up and maybe still be a good future investment potential for buyers that are buying today. Plus the low interest rates. Plus, if you actually 3 out of the last 5 recessions, believe it or not, home prices have actually increased in value.
That's
so
right.
There's a lot of historical factors in play. There's a lot of things that are going on right now that are telling us, there's not going to be that much doom and gloom in the real estate marketplace in the future here. And in fact, a lot of economists are saying that real estate is actually going to be the industry that's going to pull us out of the recession, not put us into one.
You've got, and I'm just going to go ahead and play the 33-year card another time here and realize we've come out of times that have been very challenging like this. But in my entire career since November of 1988 in Orange County, the inventories have always been much lower than the rest of the country. And our demand has stayed also higher than the rest of the company. Lane's a big micro stats guy. That's the macro position that I can just tell you I've experienced personally.
Well, we're already starting to see that a little bit here, to be honest with you. I mean, we have some clients that we're working with right now that are from LA, and they're living in a densely populated neighborhood and community right now, and they're looking for a little bit more space. Homes are really expensive in LA too. So now we have the opportunity to get them a place that a bigger bang for their buck opportunity in Orange County, and a place that's a little more spread out. And maybe, we don't have as many cases as you see in LA. And so we might see a lot of LA money coming this way, especially for the ones that have the comfort of being able to work from home now. And a lot of companies are noticing that a lot of people being able to work from home, it's working out. And they might continue to do so even after the stay-at-home orders are lifted. So yeah. I do see Orange County as a whole as like a little pocket that's still going to be really strong for a long time.
I think you're absolutely right, Lane. I have a prediction to make. I think our older homes with the larger lots are going to see an even increased demand as we see time moving forward. Because again, with people working at home, kids are at home, everyone's realizing that quality family time is awesome, and they want to make sure they have the backyard where they can play with the children. They want to make sure they have room, if there isn't a home office that's dedicated, to be able to add on that space for them in the future. So I feel the older homes are really going to be popular, and people are going to see what can be done to them to update and make their dream palaces.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, well, let's move on to the next question. What are showings like these days? Oh man, we're still showing. Real estate is an essential service, so we're still out there in the trenches showing. It is a little bit different feel. It is a little bit different feel.
It's a different feel, absolutely, and we're very fortunate that we have been deemed an essential service since we were pretty much within the first 10 days of all this happening. And I'm going to let Lane go ahead and outline, and I'm going to say right now, give him a shout out for how proud I am of Lane and Steve, our marketing technology director, for getting ahead of the curve on this and jumping on what's required so that we could serve our clients the best and really show their houses and be safe for all.
And I want to start off too. I love showing homes. It's one of my favorite things to do. And I think that there's actually been a little bit of an increase for showings because, and maybe I saw one of the future questions we'll get into about open houses, but public open houses aren't really being had anymore. So there's showings are definitely on the rise. And basically, here's what happens. The California Association of Realtors, they came out with a new form. It's a coronavirus property entry form. And it basically just says you understand the hazards of going into somebody else's home during coronavirus. You sign off on it. The seller signs off on it. Everybody's happy. Everybody knows what to expect. And some sellers have different wants. Some sellers will want you to wear a mask, gloves, and booties. And we have every sales agent on our team has our own little basket of goodies, would you say? So we have extra masks if we need, extra booties and gloves, and we make sure we provide that for all the showings and make sure we satisfy what the seller's wishes are so they feel comfortable. When a seller feels comfortable when you go into their home, and let's say you like the house and you want to submit an offer on it, guess what? They're going to know that you adhere to all of their requests, and they're going to love you for it. If you didn't follow their rules, if you didn't follow their requests, and then you want to submit an offer, it's going to be a negative taste, especially if you're competing against multiple offers there. So we're going to follow what the sellers are asking for. We're going to practice good safety guidelines set out by the California Association of Realtors, and you're going to be signing a form acknowledging that you know the hazards of showing in this environment.
I think, Lane, you hit it perfectly right on, because no matter what the marketplace is, showings are always done to make it comfortable for our sellers. And right now, their comfort is a little bit different than it has been in the past. And it's overshadowed by actually what's safe as well. So it's very important for comfort and safety right now. Those two factors we've added in.
Absolutely. And I see that Joanne Post just made a really great comment, and I couldn't agree more. I would think the current situation cuts down on looky-loos. You're absolutely correct. And the reason why is on most listings, there's 3D tours available now. And so what we're seeing now is we're seeing buyers looking at the photos first, then they're looking at the 3D tour, and the 3D tour almost makes it feel like you're physically inside the home. And then after they look at the 3D tour and they still like the home, then they're making an appointment to go into the house and take a look at the home. So the ones that are scheduling appointments today that are physically looking at the house have already seen the photos, they've already watched the video, they've already looked at the 3D tour, and they're going to be your most serious and qualified buyers. And on that point too, a lot of cases, a lot of sellers and listing agents are asking for you to send the proof of funds and the pre-approval letters from the lender ahead of time before you even schedule an in-person appointment. So these new practices are actually cutting out the looky-loos, exactly like the comment that we just received. And now our most qualified buyers are taking a look at the house.
That's absolutely right.
All right, next question.
Let's move on.
The current interest rates.
All right, Lane, I'm gonna let you field this one, Lane, because you keep up on this 3, 4, 5, 6 times a day.
I mean, we go and we talk to our lenders every single day to see where the current rates are, and they vary based on your situation, and based on your loan amount. The conforming loan amounts we were seeing as low as 3,125. High balance amounts you're seeing in like the 325, 335 range, and then to be honest with you, anything above a loan amount of 765 is a little bit more difficult in this marketplace, just because a lot of banks aren't issuing them as much anymore. But we have lined ourselves up with lenders that are still able to loan higher than the 765. It just might come in the form of a home equity line of credit. which if you take the two loans and combine them together on a monthly, they're actually coming in less expensive with lower costs than if you would be finding a bank that's able to do a loan amount higher than 765. So yeah, low threes to mid threes right now, you're seeing on a lot. FHA, VA, you're seeing in the twos right now.
Oh my gosh. Yep.
So that's a really big benefit that we were talking about earlier. If you should buy right now, a lot of our first-time home buyers are taking advantage of a 0% down VA or a 3.5% down FHA, are taking advantage of really, really low interest rates. And I really encourage those that are watching that are maybe on the fence of buying to think about doing the same.
And I'm going to add one thing in there again from being in the trenches, just for full transparency. Philip and I recently, as of 2 days ago, just completed a refinance, and we're in that high balance category. We found a great loan. We had two lenders in which to choose from, and we worked with one of our longtime trusted service partners, and we felt the service was great. The package we're getting is amazing, and it allows us, again, to move on and turn to the next chapter of our lives and do things. So again, from the trenches, the rates are great right now. And again, back to our buyer question, remember, affordability is a combination of what you pay for a house, if you're purchasing, and what your interest rates are. The rates are low if we look across the board right now. If they drop again in the future, you can always refinance.
Yep. And I'll tell you one thing. I personally refinance myself. My cousin just finished his refinance today. I'm having my brother look into it as well. I'm having my own family members. So if you're at an interest rate of over 4% right now, I definitely encourage you to look into possibly refinancing and taking advantage of these low rates. They're really great. Absolutely.
I'm going to jump in. I see we have a question from Eileen. Thanks for joining us, Eileen. And also, Joanne, a big shout out to you. We're so glad you're here with us.
My mom.
So I'll let Lane answer the question for his mom.
Well, it says, what's the average escrow period during the coronavirus time? And a lot of lenders, they're focusing actually on new purchases right now because of how many refinances they've been able to take on. And because they're focusing on new purchases, they're still able to do 30-day escrows to 45-day escrows. And actually, we're pre-approved with one of our preferred lenders right now who came back and said he can still do a 21-day escrow. So I think the time frames as far as escrow periods haven't really changed. You can do it as soon as 21 days to maybe 30 to 45 days.
And if we go back to the trenches, Eileen, and for all of other folks watching out there, on our own transactions, we've seen little to no delays with being able to close. And I'm going to say within 1, 2, 3 days at most from the stated escrow periods, which are generally 30 or 45 days.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mom. Okay, next question. Are open houses still happening?
Well, I think this tags a little bit onto what Lane was describing a few moments ago with regards to how we're showing properties. Open houses are probably the thing that has changed the most in a black and white perspective because of the fact that, it just isn't the right thing to do right now. So Lane, why don't you run with us and tell us how we're handling that and being on the cutting edge to make sure we do still expose our properties for our sellers, which is what it's all about.
Sure. All public open houses are canceled right now.
And that's mandated.
Yeah, there's really no indication of when they're going to be coming back. But what we've transitioned to virtual open houses. Virtual open houses means we can conduct it through a FaceTime call or a Google Hangouts or whatever is most convenient for the particular buyer. But what we're doing is we're creating a calendar through Calendly where you can book a 15-minute slot during a normal 2 or 3 hour window of where we would normally have an open house and schedule a private virtual tour while we're physically by ourselves at the home. And we can walk you through as if you were there during the open house. And so we're doing virtual open houses now. The MLS actually recently allowed us to make a change, and myself, our team, and one of our office managers were on the cutting edge of being able to make this change with the MLS, but they're allowing us to put these links, these unbranded calendar links in the property description, and that property description automatically gets syndicated out to websites such as Zillow, Redfin, Realtor.com. So the consumer who's looking on these big time real estate websites can copy that link into their browser and schedule a 15-minute slot for a virtual open house window that we have set and available for the buyer.
And you know what, Lane, a huge shout out to you because you're being very modest. You actually pioneered that concept, which our entire MLS has adopted in Orange County and given every agent a chance to expose their clients' houses better. So way to go. But I want to close this topic perhaps with something my very first manager ever told me, and that is exposure creates demand and demand creates the price, meaning the more exposure we get for property, the more demand we create and the better price we can get for our sellers. This is just one more way how we're pivoting, making lemonade out of lemons every day and keeping those levels of exposure the highest they can possibly be given the current circumstances.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Moving on. How's the luxury market? You're in a luxury market. How's the luxury market?
Well, only because, as previously mentioned, for those of you that may have just joined us, Philip and I are selling our triplex in Laguna. So although we have a modest beach cottage, I guess it's considered part of the luxury market because it's 3 units. And we've just recently gone live. We've already had decent interest. We've had a couple of showings. Obviously, we can't do a broker preview, which is one part of exposure right now, which allows the brokers to tour the house. But we're getting creative with our ways to expose that properly. As many of our clients know, our bread and butter, and so to speak, in our average market is not what's considered the high-end luxury market. So in all fairness, we don't have daily experience with things, let's say, 3, 4, 5 million and above. But those that I do talk to and network with are saying the demand is still there. And the only real change is some of these folks have not chosen to put their homes on the market, not because they don't wish to sell, but so many people in the luxury market are in that, well, if I get my price, I'm going to move category. They're oftentimes second and third homes that aren't used that often, and they kind of take advantage of what they perceive as the swings upward or downward in the marketplace. So we are seeing fewer of those homes come on the market, but I don't think out of anything other than people are saying, well, I don't have to sell anyway, and I don't think I'm going to do it right now when I can't, perhaps get the tippy top dollar of what I wanted. But it also goes back to, if you have a desire and a motivation to move and turn the next page of life, you're probably going to do it.
Right. And I mean, and adding a couple of things to it, it's a case-by-case basis depending on where you're selling or what marketplace you're in. For example, we actually have a client right now in the Riverside area.
I was going to mention that. Yeah.
They're in a luxury area for Riverside, and Riverside County is not considered a high income county, so that means that they can't really get the high balance loans up to the 765. So they're cut off in the $500,000 range. So if you have a house that's listed in Riverside County over $1 million and somebody's financing, that means they're going to have to come up with over $500,000 probably to put down. So that's a little bit more difficult. So in that situation, we might be on the sidelines just for a couple of weeks to see when those might ease up and those restrictions might ease, and then go back and put it back on the market at that particular point in time. So if there's other people doing that, you might see an increase in inventory when the restrictions ease, but at the same time, you'll see a higher demand for buyers because they can get a higher loan amount again in those areas.
I think that's precisely it, because again, like I said, our bread and butter, our daily, bulk of our transactions are not the luxury market. Of course, we have a lot of knowledge in it and do have quite a bit of experience throughout every year. So the advice that I might give for those folks is, if you do want to turn the next page and have a reason to move on, there certainly is going to be a market for your home. And I think Lane hit it pretty well, is that you may actually have less competition moving into the next few months because you have a desire to sell, and there's always demand here in Orange County. I do know that for sure. And I think even in Riverside County too, to Lane's point, if the buyers have the financing, they're going to be able to make it happen. Our property out there is an amazing property and an amazing value.
Absolutely. Can't wait to share it with you guys. All right, next question. How's the market? We get asked that question more than anything. It's a very simple, broad question.
It is. And we've been internalizing over the years. Again, the answer to that is that depends. Are you buying, selling, or investing? And we throw in.
But I mean, I think a combination of all the questions that we've been answering, like, is it a good time to sell now? Is it a good time to buy now? Yeah. What are the showings like? What are open houses like? What's all this? I think that's a combination of how's the market.
Yeah, I do. And I'm going to throw one more thing out there, Lena. I'm going to let you kind of run with this, because I think along with that question, how that's been tweaked in the last few weeks is I'm getting people saying to me, are buyers buying? Are sellers selling? And I think there's this perception that, yes, we have the stay-at-home orders and everyone is cocooning in, but buyers are buying and sellers are selling. So Lane, you run with that, and from your stats background, tell us what's happening.
No, as you know, and if you go to our website, it's Sackin-Stone team.com/coronavirus. We created a landing page specifically to monitor stats like this. I look at stats every single day as far as how many new actives are coming on, how many are going under contract, how many closings are there. But then I also look at distressing signals as well, like how many are being placed on hold, how many are being withdrawn from the housing market. And there was a time maybe a couple weeks ago where we started to see the actives pull away from the homes under contract, where maybe a month and a half ago, more homes were going under contract than coming to the market. Well, in the last 7 to 10 days, as we've kind of experienced with the buyers that we've been helping, those are kind of leveling off again. And we're seeing just as many homes go under contract as come on the market. So demand is strong again. I referenced the Nike swoosh from the Showing Time app. Showings are on the rise again. So I really do think that we're getting an early sense of the market starting to improve. It was just a short little glitch maybe, and we don't know what the long-term effects are going to be, but it's been really active right now. A lot of our listings that are priced accurately are still getting offers, multiple offers, and still getting showings. So
Yes.
whether you're looking to buy or sell right now, depending on your situation, there's still a really good opportunity to get a good price for your home in today's marketplace. And if you're buying, there's really good opportunity to get a good deal right now at a low interest rate. So there's actually, when you have a neutral market like this, there's great benefits for both that are looking to buy and sell.
I think in closing on that, that's a great point, Lane, where again, having seen the swings, whether it's a heavy buyer's market or heavy seller's market, and most of the time it's been a seller's market in my 33 years, but it's a little bit more neutral right now, and it can be, more of a win-win for everybody concerned. So that's our take on it.
Absolutely. Okay, do we have any more questions, or is that it? This might be it.
That might be it. Well, we've done pretty good. I think our goal was about 30 minutes. I'm sorry, Lane.
I have 30 minutes. I'm so happy that we were able to get through 8 questions in less than 30 minutes.
I know.
You and I can talk about this forever.
I know we both have such a passion for it, and our skills are diverse, but yet complementary and designed to just help our clients get what they want in the time they need it, and for us to be a resource at all times. And adding this show, I think, to our arsenal is hopefully going to be something else that does give our clients and those that they choose to share it with an additional resource to feel that they have the facts of what's going on right now and can sift through all the hype and feel comfortable with whatever their decisions may be, whether they're short-term or long-term.
Well, the best part about what we do is that we love what we do. And because we love what we do, we love talking about it too. So these were just 8 standard broad questions, not really broad, they were great questions and we were able to answer them. But if you didn't catch this video live and maybe you're watching it at a later point in time and we didn't answer a question that you may have, either direct message us, leave it in the comments, send us an email, text us, whatever you want. We're going to actually continue to just write all these questions down and make sure that we answer them on a weekly basis on a show atmosphere like that. So whether you catch us live or watch the playback, whatever it is, we want to answer your questions. We want to make sure that you're constantly informed. And in a marketplace and in a situation where things are constantly changing every single day, even for us, rules change on how we can show homes, rules change on how we write off, like the whole thing, everything's changing, but we stay up to date and we want to make sure that we answer the questions accurately and get all the information to you.
Absolutely. And in closing, what we're even learning is we're doing things differently now, but we're really excited about how some of these changes are going to be able to be implemented for us to better serve you in the future.
Absolutely. So thank you so much for watching us live. We're just at the 28-minute mark. We're really trying to keep it under 30, so we're happy that we were able to do that. Now tune in next Friday. We're going to put an announcement. We don't know if it's going to be in the morning or the afternoon, but we're going to try to do it every Friday to make sure we answer your questions live, Q&A, so that way we can answer your questions and get all the answers you need.
Absolutely. Thanks again for joining the SNL Show Q&A live today.
Signing